Welcome one, welcome all. It is the greatest crossover event ever attempted and successfully landed in the history of the world. The NFC East Mixtape Volume 47. If my sources are correct, I don't have any sources, just making that up off the top of my head. It would be really convenient if it was true. You can listen to this show on any of the four networks for SB Nation's NFC East homes: Blogging the Boys, Bleeding Green Nation, Big Blue View, Hogs Haven. I am RJ Ochoa from Blogging the Boys. He is Brandon Gowton from Bleeding Green Nation, BLG. Happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday. We time travel a lot. People listen to us on different days. So in that spirit, how does it feel to be a successful time traveler?
It feels pretty good. And I just want to say thank you, RJ, for the little Christmas gift that you got me here. Finally, I got it. For the listeners who are not tuning in to the visual medium on YouTube, well, you're missing out because you're not getting to see what I'm holding up. I will say what it is because I guess it's kind of cruel to speak because it could be anything. Unless you really want to drive people to the YouTube, I just don't say what it is at all. But it's a nice little gift that you can hang things. You can hang it on something. So good job by you. It's a good gift. You're a good friend.
Yeah,
I hate you.
I was very, 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 very late getting Christmas gifts mailed off for work. So apologies in that sense. Turns out having a kid, kind of a time suck. You know what I mean? Like kind of just takes up a lot of time and energy. In fact, at the beginning of our recording, my son is where his like bassinet, his position is right behind the camera. So I'm looking at you, but I'm also looking at him. My wife is coming to grab him in about 10 minutes as far as we're recording. So if we hear something, it is from the official baby of the NFC East Mixtape. But it's been a busy week so far here. Oh no! Well, it might as well be because holy crap, I am in a bad spot. I am in a bad place. BLG posted on his Instagram story, like the influencer he is, on Instagram at Brandon Gowton. You can follow him there or on Twitter. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at RJ Ochoa. You were at the 76ers game watching the frauds. Anyway, and I messaged you and I said, look, we forgot to set up a time to record. I said, how about, 11 a.m. Central? You said, cool. I asked you on Tuesday to go earlier. You failed. So, basically your fault.
You didn't ask me to go earlier. You said, I'm ready to go earlier if you are, which I wasn't because I walked away because we agreed on a certain time. So I was not around.
So you said, okay, cool, great. What are we going to talk about? And I said, the Cowboys suck. That's all I could say. Like I am in a bad place. And so free agency begins a week from today, by the way, for everyone listening, because this show is published on Wednesdays. The new league year begins on Wednesday, March 16th. So we're going to kind of connect some dots or try to connect some dots, note which dots are no longer connectable in the NFL. But obviously the Dallas Cowboys have been in the news for a while, dating back to Stephen Jones's initial comments at the Combine last week. Wherever you want to go, BLG, these shows have kind of been these, what's your preferred soup? Gazpacho, right? That's what you prefer?
I don't think you never use this right. Gazpacho is just a cold soup, but a gumbo.
Well, what is the one you prefer? A smorgasbord? I forget what it is.
That's not even a soup. Now you're just saying words. I like a loaded baked potato soup, honestly. I think that's a really, really strong soup, like a creamy soup.
On the subject of food, I just have to brag. Yeah. My wife found a recipe for Brussels sprouts. I'm not a Brussels sprouts guy, but we throw them in the air fryer after we mix them in some olive oil, some maple syrup with some pecans. Pretty good.
What's happening?
Oh, dude, I got to say, it's pretty good. Just give it a shot. Give it. You ever had some like charred Brussels sprouts? They're not bad.
I have, but I'm not like missing anything. I feel like if I'm not eating them.
You loyal listener, do you like Brussels sprouts or not? Let us know on Twitter with the hashtag Brussels tape. That's the hashtag that we're going with this week.
Disgusting.
Most people, by the way, fans of Good Morning America versus the Today Show. So I think we know where our allegiances lie. But yeah, this is what's the word you use for soup? Like a collection of soup that isn't gazpacho? There's a word you have that is escaping me right now.
It's not gumbo?
Gumbo, that's what it is. Gumbo. Thank you very much. Not a soup, but
you didn't react to it. Interesting.
Okay, well, this is a gumbo of an episode. Where do you want to go? I'm just a feather in the wind, wherever, following you.
Did you see, like Forrest Gump, did you see the Kyle Brandt rant on Good Morning Football?
Kyle Brandt, friend of Blogging the Boys, friend of the SB Nation NFL show, where you can hear both BLG and I throughout the week. Go subscribe there as well. Leave a rating, write a review. I did see that on Tuesday morning. Kyle is, the Good Morning Football crew is awesome. Great morning show. That morning show, by the way, trumps, Good Morning America or the Today Show, whatever, Get Up, whatever. But they all do kind of have, would you agree, like their teams, right? Like each of the four, certainly back when it was Nate Burleson, kind of have, the teams they kind of stand for or ride for. Who's the Eagles person on Good Morning Football? Would you say?
I mean, during the Super Bowl run, it was Kyle Brandt. It was like no one believes in this
Right.
team. They're the underdogs, and he went to Princeton. So I think he's from New Jersey, or I don't know. It seems like he has some kind of.
Well, and LaShawn McCoy has actually been on there, who the Eagles hated. No big deal once upon a time. But Kyle is also the Cowboys guy. He's the person who kind of rides for the Cowboys more.
He's
than
an
anybody
NFC
else.
East guy. He's one of us. Honestly.
Oh man, we got to get him on the mixtape. We totally got to get him on the mixtape.
He would love that. I bet you he would love this premise.
Oh, he totally would. Well, he actually spoke in his rant about content, incidentally, about football content. And he basically like moaned and groaned, rightfully so in my mind, about how, from a national perspective, why are we always, making things about the Cowboys? This team can't win, whatever. He posited that Jerry Jones might care more about AT&T Stadium hosting the NFL Combine than actually winning the Super Bowl. That is actually something that a lot of fans say. Like last week, I was actually going to say in the middle of the dysfunction, but we're still, I don't even know if we've reached the middle yet. Like we might still be on the first half. I tweeted, it's going to be so cool. I was being sarcastic. It's going to be so cool when the Cowboys top Forbes' list of most valuable sports teams and have the most players in the top 10 of NFL jersey sales when that comes out. And it's hard not to believe that that's what they care about. We have a show on our network called First and 10 that comes out on Mondays. And one of the hosts, Aiden Davis, said in the middle of this Amari Cooper, DeMarcus Lawrence stuff that's been happening, he said, obviously I don't know for sure. He said, but I would bet the Joneses are loving this, are loving that all the national shows are talking about them and Amari and DeMarcus and Dalton Schultz and everything. And it's hard not to believe that. Like, it's hard not to believe those crazy theories because they kind of lend themselves to be true and that the team lends themselves to fulfilling them to trueness.
Since we recorded last week, I think really the big news in the division as a whole is the Cowboys, are moving on from Amari Cooper. We didn't talk about that here on the mixtape. And obviously there's a report out there that they asked DeMarcus Lawrence to take a pay cut. And it seems like through those things, you're disillusioned with the Cowboys, which has been apparent since they lost, and also is a very natural way to feel right after the way their season ended. But that's like a feeling that for some people, sometimes at least, can kind of go away because free agency comes and everything, and you're like talking yourself into the new players and you're getting yourself excited. And I'm sure by August here, you will be more bullish, maybe not as bullish as you've been in the past, but you'll be more bullish at that point than you will right now in this moment in time. It's just the natural course of things, or if not you specifically, the royal you, the bigger portion of the Cowboys fan base will be in that mode because that's just how, again, it goes. But it seems like you and a lot of Cowboys fans, and the sentiment is that, and Kyle Brandt kind of touched on this, like you're down bad, you're disillusioned. You kind of almost, there's apathy, as we've talked about. You're just waiting for Mike McCarthy to kind of like be a lame duck this year. Like it's tough to really talk yourself into it yet again. It's 1995. He kept saying that. It's like it's since 1995. It's like it's been forever.
Kyle said one of my favorite ways to exemplify the Cowboys' mediocrity in that the Baltimore Ravens, who, by the way, have been to 4 title games, won 2 of them, and then won the 2 subsequent Super Bowls. They did not exist the last time the Cowboys even just appeared in an NFC title game. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl that season.
And then it was 5 NFC's teams have been to the Super Bowl in that time? 3 have won it?
Right, because the Eagles lost one, right?
The
2. They lost 1, and the Giants lost the first one to the Ravens, obviously.
Yep.
But
that's
yeah,
terrible.
I mean,
that makes it so much more embarrassing. I feel like the divisional context does make it look worse.
Something I like to say, I mean, I don't like this, but like a way I like to, exemplify it again is there are several teams, the Eagles among them, and the Giants among them, that have been to the Super Bowl, completely rebuilt, like literally 100% new roster, 100% new coaching staff, and gone back again. You know what I mean? Like we've seen like multiple variations of different teams. The Giants, the Eagles, the Packers have done it. The Broncos have done it. The Patriots, obviously. Although, well, I guess they have done it because they lost, the year after the Cowboys last made it. And so, I mean, like again, and bad teams have made it. Like Rex Grossman's made it. You know what I mean? Like there's all sorts of like horrible things that you can say to put it in perspective. And so to get back to this team, I don't envision myself being bullish. Like there's a natural point you return to as a fan, right? Like you will come back to some floor of, call it hype. And maybe that will happen. By the way, I did not know what the word bullish meant before we started the mixtape. Remember that? That was awkward. Yeah. So I am more bearish.
Do you now still?
Yeah, there's actually there are certain words. Maybe we have found we're a lot alike. There's certain words that I literally remember like how I learned what they mean. Like I remember how I learned what the word penultimate meant. That's one of those that sticks in my mind along with bullish now. But anyway, I mean, dude, like again, Jerry goes on, and I mean, I hate to be the I called it guy, and I wasn't the only person who called this.
No, you don't.
But Jerry goes on the radio on 105 to the Fin when the season's over. It's like, whoa, man, I'm so angry. And everybody is like, oh, man, watch out. Jerry's pissed. He's going scorched earth here this offseason. They did nothing to the coaching staff. In fact, all they did was compromise it by, Jerry openly teasing McCarthy's job status. And now you have that dysfunction. And then, what do they want to do? They want to weaken the roster. They want to cut Amari Cooper. It's so hilarious that they asked DeMarcus Lawrence to take a pay cut because they botched that deal. They tagged him twice instead of having the ability to project forward, which they lack. They do that all the time. They do not know what they're doing here. And that isn't me just blogger boy sitting here from my parents' basement, like the blogger stereotype, saying there is like undeniable, certifiable proof that they do not know what they're doing here. They drag all of these things out until the final minute, and they have to overpay over and over and over again. They did it with DeMarcus Lawrence. They did it with Dak Prescott. I still love Dak Prescott, but he's paid more than he could have been if they had gotten it done 3 years ago when Wentz got his deal and Goff got their deal. Deals that were so not crippling that those teams got out of them, by the way, before the Cowboys ultimately got a deal done with Dak Prescott. They are doing it right now with Michael Gallup and with Dalton Schultz and with Randy Gregory potentially, all while giving them the leverage of them knowing that the players who they are going to be replacing are gone. I mean, they have completely and totally, utterly, chaotically, because all of these things are leaking. Like what other teams have these many leaks about like what they're going to be doing with their roster? Nobody. But everybody knows what the Cowboys are going to be doing. Their cards are fully and frontally on the table. They are the phrase I've been latching onto. They are becoming the meme. They have not been the meme that people like you have made them out to be. They have had meme moments, but they are becoming the meme. You can see the Joker meme of like the face paint and stuff that people use a lot. That is literally the transformative process they're going through.
Is Amari Cooper still worth it first?
You want to
break the t-shirts out again?
I had a tweet that a lot of people did not like when the reports first came out. I said, the Cowboys gave their 2019 first-round pick for Amari, so this would be like cutting a first-rounder after 3 years of service. Obviously, the financials of that are not apples to apples, but, I mean, from a time-served perspective, that's exactly what it would be like, which they did with Taco Charlton. He didn't even make it to his third full season with the team, by the way. So I think it is a failure. I mean, is he worth a first? Wow. I don't know, but it is a failure now because
you got to burn the t-shirts.
I mean, that sucks. Like, I cannot believe they want to. And what is so dumb is they are robbing Peter to pay Paul. They will save $16 million by cutting Amari Cooper, which is going to be the case. And by the way, I don't know if you saw this, as of Monday, all this murmuring started last week when it really picked up steam. As of Monday, ESPN's Todd Archer reported they had not even given Amari permission to seek a trade. How stupid is that? Like, how dumb is that? Like, he can literally do the work for you. And they hadn't given it to him as of then. So just very, very silly. But I mean, they're going to save $16 million from him, and they're going to save from DeMarcus Lawrence, and then they're going to turn around and give it to Michael Gallup, and they franchise tagged Dalton Schultz on the day we're talking. That's $11 million, and the deal for Gallup is reportedly going to be north of $10 million per year. It's stupid. I mean, like, just keep Amari and let let Dalton walk. I mean, okay, so what? I mean, nice guy. And let Gallup. I love Michael Gallup, BLG. I really do. He's coming off an ACL tear that happened in January. This is just such an irresponsible utilization of resources.
Two things. Number one, I like how you've kind of reached not apples to apples again here, but like similar vein, my level of disillusionment with the team you cover. So that's fun to see you kind of just you becoming the Joker, I guess, so to speak. And then kind of figuratively and literally, as far as we talk about here, when we talk about comparisons, I'm the Joker. And the other thing is, like, from looking at this from afar, my question is, like, what is the Cowboys' vision? Like, what is the plan? Like, what are they
don't have
doing?
One. Everything they do is reactionary. It's
like,
reacting to like,
what's
oh
the
crap.
Theme? What's the theme? It's not like, hey, like for the Eagles last year, it was like, hey, we're going to shed some salary. We're going to get rid of the like we're going to transition. We're getting younger. That was like a point of emphasis. And then obviously you can disagree about how they went about it or whatever. But at least okay, that's the plan. But like, what are the Cowboys doing? They're kind of in their window to win right now, but then they're getting rid of their best pass rusher. They're getting rid of their best. I think you can make the case that, you know, at least if not their best receiver, a really good receiver. Like the Cowboys they're just making themselves worse is what they're doing. But like to save, like you're saying, to do what? What are they doing with those savings?
Nothing. I mean, and
so they're just getting worse by choice.
So as of the moment, again, and we're recording this Tuesday around lunchtime. They're about even. They did restructure Dak Prescott and Zach Martin to create $22 million in salary cap space. So they're just about even. They're still a little bit over the cap, but they're a little bit over and want to obviously sign Randy Gregory and Michael Gallup. I mean, they still have some things to do on that front. The trigger that they could pull, or the switch they could flip, however you want to put it,
the lever they could pull,
that would literally lose people. I think like this if they restructure Zeke, if they tie themselves to him for the 2023 season,
they're stuck.
They will lose people. But like they like, to be clear, that they literally can do that. Like they literally can restructure him. Like that is an available option. That's all I'm saying.
They can't.
If they do that, they will lose people. Like, and I think, and like the take of like, I'm done watching this team. Nobody does that. Nobody legitimately ever really like stops watching. You'll come back, you'll watch, you'll care, whatever. You'll still get
watching the Sixers this season until Ben Simmons was gone. So it happens.
It's a little bit different. Like when there's 1,000 games, you know what I mean? Like you could never quit watching the NFL. Like you know what I mean? Like it's, you know, that meme of, it's like the old man or whoever is covering something with an umbrella and he's like mad and it's raining and he's like, just because I'm mad doesn't mean I stopped caring. Like that's, you know, that's kind of like where it would be. But dude, I could be wrong. Like they could have this, they could have these magic restructures and sign, I don't know, I mean, whoever, like Chandler Jones or whatever. I mean, like, again, but wow, I really hope there's a great pass rusher on the market and a great receiver on the market. You sure could use some of those now. But even if they did that, I mean, that would be bucking the trend. They are so unlikely to do that. That is not their MO. They are going to sit and chill and watch idly by in free agency as everybody else signs all the top names because they don't want to overpay while they're giving Dalton Schultz $11 million and Michael Gallup north of $10 million per year. And who knows what Randy Gregory fetches.
Would you rather have a boat or a mystery box?
Ooh, a boat.
I mean, there could be anything
in
a mystery box.
Is it an engine boat? Like I'm not like a canoer or like a.
There
raptor.
could be a boat
like,
in the mystery box. This is my point here is like this is what the Cowboys are like almost doing with like cutting. It's like, hey, yeah, we'll cut. We'll get rid of these guys. We'll clear up some cap space, and then we might be able to sign, like you said, a good receiver or a good pass rusher. It's like, well, you could just have those things maybe, and not get rid of them. Yeah, so I think it's just weird looking at it from the outside looking in. There's really a lot of bad vibes, I would say, around the Cowboys entering 2022, just in terms of you have like Warren Sharp out here all the time, like pointing out all the regression stats in terms of the turnovers and everything. You have the Sean Payton, like it seems like this could be just a really like strange year in terms of like everyone's. I mean, maybe it's almost a good thing in the sense of like expectations are getting lowered, that if there's a more room to overachieve, I guess. But at the same time, it's not like the Cowboys are like this kind of viewed as this like plucky kind of team that's down on hard times. It's like a team that can't get over the hump. So I don't know. It seems like a weird time to be a Cowboys fan for you.
It's the most apathetic I've ever been. And obviously, like, my work life revolves around them. So like it's I could never be like the high school version of me and like just like walk away or just be pissed or just you know I'll just watch baseball. You know what I mean? Like nothing. There's no like alternative. At least the players is happening this week. I know you're a big golf fan, but dude, yeah. I mean, it's wearing on people. And
who do you want the Cowboys to sign? Do you even care?
I mean, at this point,
external, not like talking to re-sign.
I feel badly for a handful of people. I feel badly for Michael Gallup, for Dalton Schultz, and Randy Gregory, the people, because they're going to be painted as people that got overpaid, because that's what the Cowboys did. They dragged this on way too long. They got overpaid, and people are going to like direct their hatred or their upsetness for Amari and DeMarcus playing elsewhere at them. I mean, my feelings on him are very clear. I feel badly for Mike McCarthy. This is like the fourth time I've had to say this offseason for like the fourth different reason. You know what I mean? Like like again, I'm not trying to be like McCarthy's a great coach. You just got to give him this, just got to like whatever, blah blah. But like this, no coach can thrive in this. Like what I mean? Like I feel badly for him that he took a gamble on restarting his career that was difficult. I mean, after the difficult ending he had in Green Bay, that has only continued to age poorly with the success that they are having. And so he's put himself in a position where like I think that like I in no way could rationally believe like, oh, the Cowboys just are wanting to set McCarthy up to fail so they can fire him and hire Sean Payton. Like the logic in my brain cannot handle that or swallow that. But the things they're doing like make that a more possible thing to rationalize, if that makes sense. Like it makes understanding that stupid, ridiculous, conspiracy theory be an actual possibility. Like there's no rhyme or reason to how they're acting. And some people say, well, yeah, Amari was underperforming, DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't have sacks, whatever. You are not a better football team without them. You're not. And this is supposed to be your window. And so on the one hand, if they kept those players around and they restructured Zeke, I'd still be pissed. But at least to your point of like a theme, it would suggest like we are creating as much salary cap space as possible for right now. And we are prepared to carry the sins of that in the future, but we are concerned on the here and now. But they've got their foot in both camps. They're trying to be this team that's focused on the future. Like, oh, we gotta preserve cap space for 2024 when the $1 billion TV deal money comes in. But we gotta also sign players now. Like you can't have it both ways. You can't be this aimless.
I don't think Amari Cooper will be ending up in the division, at least to the Eagles, RJ. There's been a lot of people like, oh, the Eagles should sign Amari Cooper. I don't think that's going to happen. I'm transitioning here, by the way, if you didn't notice. Nice little smooth
I think
transition.
We should transition based off the Mike McCarthy point and saying,
okay.
I mentioned that his time in Green Bay continues to age poorly. Aaron Rodgers, on the day we're recording, signed correct me if I'm wrong, I know there's like some, like Pat McAfee said this might not be accurate, but the report is a 4-year, $200 million deal. Is that correct?
Something like that, yeah.
With like $153 million guaranteed. Jay Glazer's tweet just pisses me off about the Cowboys all the more. It literally says, even though Rodgers' new deal is at $50 million per, it was actually structured in a way to give the Packers cap relief this year to free up money so they can keep Devontae Adams, who is speculated to be receiving the franchise tag. It's like all these teams, like, it's like they like have this magic book that the Cowboys don't or something. It's so frustrating. But, they already own the Cowboys. Aaron owns the Cowboys. And so, he's going to win the Super Bowl and then the Combine's going to be at AT&T Stadium and everybody will win.
Maybe you would have a team if like a real, meaning a team as in like a real team to be reckoned with, if you just took like Howie Roseman's trading and cap like side of stuff and like you hired the Cowboys drafting department, like maybe you have something there.
Right.
If, you can kind of combine those two things, because I think that's kind of funny. I think those are like their opposite weaknesses there. If we're talking about context of the NFC, I would say Rodgers being back is not great for either of the teams that we cover, because we can laugh at him when it comes to the playoffs and being disappointing in that regard, but like you just said, he's always ended the Cowboys season, and I think they've only played the Eagles once in the playoffs if I'm not mistaken, but he ended their season.
They won the Super Bowl that year.
Yeah, all the way back in 2010. Michael Vick.
You say 2010? I'm a 2010 guy.
2010, whatever. Either way, I've heard it both ways. Big Psych fan at all?
The show? No,
Yeah.
My brother-in-law loved
Good
it.
show.
They had a musical, right?
I guess.
Oh no, I'm thinking of Chuck. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
but Psych's still good.
I said Psych, not
yeah,
Chuck.
I know.
I know it sounds similar, but yeah, Psych is really good. Check it out. Underrated show, maybe. Yeah, it's not good. They win a lot of regular season games. They should. Who was above them? Who are you putting above the
Nobody
Packers
in the
right now?
NFC. I'm not
Yeah.
putting the Rams above them. No way. I
No.
mean,
Why
no.
would you?
No, I mean,
Especially because like they're not necessarily built to last as much as they were built to win last year.
the Rams had like people throw out the term Mickey Mouse
That was good,
a lot.
by the way. Did you hear what I just said there?
No.
Pat myself on the back. I said they weren't built to last. They were built to. They weren't built. Yeah, they weren't built to last. They were built to win last year.
That was pretty good.
That was good.
Especially given the like, I think we as a society are finally past like the Last Dance memes. Like it was awesome, great documentary, but we don't have to use it.
And
for,
I
like,
took
every
that
single
personally.
thing. Anyway, we throw out the term Mickey Mouse a lot, like when it comes to titles. I wouldn't say the Rams had a Mickey Mouse title, but it was kind of a friendlier road. When you look back on it, like they got
The
to
same thing about the Bucks last year.
I know, but they got to play the fraud Cardinals in the wild card round. You know what I mean? Not exactly a difficult proposition. An impressive win.
1-5 in their last 6
Right,
games.
an impressive win against the Bucks. Don't get me wrong, but they almost blew it. You know what I mean?
Blew it big time.
And then their awesome defense got to play Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFC Championship game in their building, which they almost blew again. And then they got to play the like plucky Bengals. You know what I mean? In the Super Bowl in their building, whatever. So my point is like kind of it's closer to what we qualify the Giants Super Bowl wins to be than, like the Seahawks Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Like along that spectrum. And so in that sense, like I don't really view them as like a huge threat, which is why the Packers deserve to be at the top. You mentioned all the success they have in the regular season. That is pertinent to the division, given that the NFC East does play the NFC North in 2022. So every single team that we talk about, obviously here, will have to play the Packers. The Cowboys visit Lambeau. I don't know which of the other two does, but either way, difficult situation. But that means, BLG, that he will not be the Commanders quarterback, even though Ron Rivera's doing his job. He's calling all the teams, and he's saying we want a quarterback. Oh my gosh, what a brilliant head coach. He's trying to get a good player for the most important position on the team. Amazing. Wow.
I wonder what that's all about. Like, there's something there that I haven't quite figured out, and like why they're making it. No, like it's obviously part of it is
so
like,
stupid. It's so lame.
Is they want to like try to ingratiate themselves to their fans and be like, well, look, the team is trying to do everything they can and trying to like create some buzz around the new name and everything. Like I get that angle, but it also seems like it's so obnoxious the way you're kind of even parodying it there. Parody.
It's both, actually. I think it's both.
Parroting. Either way,
parodying. Yeah.
It just feels there's something weird to me. The way they're doing it, and I don't know. I think they're going to end up like trading for Jimmy G or whatever, something dumb like that, and then probably drafting a quarterback as well at 11. Maybe like Kenny Pickett can easily see Kenny Pickett being a Washington Commander.
Well, in the latest mock draft that James DeTore did for SBNation.com, I did a Twitter space with him on Monday talking about this. He had Malik Willis going to Washington. He had Kenny Pickett lasting all the way to New Orleans. I mean, I'm just throwing that out there. I mean, like, I do think there are like good vibes around Malik Willis right now. Like everybody saw the video last week and stuff.
It's nothing against Malik Willis. I just think like
no,
they're
I know,
want
but
the
like
guy who can like play now.
I mean, I know, but like, so okay. On the subject of Washington, then we'll get to the Eagles. Because here's the thing, we're talking about teams that matter in order: Cowboys, Commanders, Eagles next. All right. Broncos fan, like huge L for the Broncos Tuesday, right? Like massive L. Like you literally hired a head coach, like along the thinking that he was going to be able to land Aaron Rodgers. Okay, super massive L for the Broncos. Are the Commanders in that territory already, or is it the moment Russell Wilson signs an extension with the Seahawks or gets traded somewhere else that like their L becomes established? Because that's the only thing they have left, right? Is Russell? Because like we're not congratulating them for trading for Jimmy Garoppolo or Derek Carr or something.
No. I mean, yeah, he's not going there. So it's not even like, at least with Aaron Rodgers, there was some thought he might actually go to Denver. Like, there was some legitimate kind of like possibility. With Russell Wilson to Washington, like it's just not happening. Like, everyone knows that's not.
But he changed his Twitter profile picture to his high school days when he was playing in Virginia, and they play in Virginia, even though the stadium's a piece of crap. They play there.
I like how it sounds like you're almost doing like a New York accent or something.
I don't know how to do a New York accent. I do one impression.
Russell
and
Wilson.
You know what it is, baby.
Yo, I'm staying in Seattle.
I just, Seattle's home, and so it was difficult to leave. And this is a business, and so you have to consider opportunities when they arise. And I have a lot of business ventures and a lot of great business partners, and and we're doing some amazing things. We're changing the world, but we want to change it from here, from the Emerald City. Go Hawks! Yeah, I'll see you guys at camp. Rest up. Let's go. Summer, baby.
You ever listen to the song "Change the World" by Eric Clapton?
No.
It's a great song. Listen to it after this podcast. Really good song. It's your loss. It's fine. Listeners, listen to that song because it's really good. What else?
Well, is that their L? Russell Wilson not going there? Like, is that?
I mean, the L is already there to me. It's not like it's just it ends the 0.01 chance that he goes there. Yeah. It's going to be, they're going to trade for Jimmy G, or they're going to trade for Carson Wentz. They're going to do something desperate or dumb like that. And then again, they'll draft a quarterback as well. So they'll be like, hey, we're attacking it multiple different ways, which actually makes sense in theory, but it's not going to be that exciting or enticing for them.
It's going to be Mitchell Trubisky. That's what it's going to be. Mitchell Trubisky.
I don't think he wants to go there. I think Mitch is going to have a market. It sounds like, at least that's a lot of the buzz coming out of the combine. And why would he pick them?
By the way, on the subject of the quarterbacks, as we are kind of touching on this from an NFL-wide perspective, Kyler Murray re-uploaded, I don't know if you saw this, all of his Cardinals posts to Instagram. So, if you go look at his Instagram, it's no longer void of any Cardinals, ties. He's
just done, bro.
Again. Yeah, so Kyler Murray seemingly not going anywhere either. Okay, the Eagles. As we kind of start to wrap up here, because the Giants, okay. Actually, let's just very quickly blitz through the Giants. There was the report that they might. What was it? You sent it to me that they could get a 4th round pick for Saquon was the thought, and they might not do that. Why? Why would you not do that? Just do it. Just do it now, please. Just trade Saquon for your own good.
It's such a no-brainer. I don't think it would work this way in terms of, I did see Florio kind of put out there that if/when the Giants trade Saquon, they're probably going to have to eat, if not the entire salary, at least some of it, it's over $7 million. But yeah, there comes a point, if you're eating the salary and you're getting a 7th round pick, you'd rather just not do that. I think you'd rather just have him on the team. If you're paying all the money anyway, just to get a 7th, that's not really worth it. You have to be getting, I don't know, a 4th. I think I'd do it for a 4th. Yeah. But anything less than that, it's getting a little bit weirder if you're still paying him. But yeah, he should be gone. It's pretty easy. We've said this a lot. I feel like Giants fans are not totally opposed to that. I feel like the sense I get is that maybe it's a little bit more split, which is dumb. It should be more obvious, but still, it's not like they're not there's no way we can't trade Saquon. I think some people are kind of warming up to that idea, as they should be. What is the Giants' biggest need, RJ, besides offensive line? Because that's the easy answer.
I think the easy answers are it. This is not the year to take a swing. Yeah, but this is not no. I don't want to see the Giants dabble in quarterback. This is not the time. I think sometimes some teams rebuild the right way, but some teams try to do it way too fast. You know what I'm saying? You've got to literally, it's boring, it's chalk. You got to lay the foundation. You got to build from the ground up. You got to shed the bad stuff. This is the time to figure out what Daniel Jones is. That's this season has to be that. The way last season, I know that the result actually didn't decide things ultimately. Maybe it did for a lot of people like you, but last season was the year of we have to figure out what Jalen Hurts is for the Eagles. And I think you did, but some people are still undecided, whatever. But so next year is that we have to figure out what Daniel Jones is. It should have happened by now. That's fine. Water under the bridge, but you have to figure out what Daniel Jones is. So you cannot draft a quarterback or be in the middle of that and have that controversy kind of hovering around you. It's chalk. You need offensive line. You need cheap talent that you can build around so that you can take swings in free agency. So you got to shed some guys. You got to shed Sterling Shepard. You got to shed Saquon Barkley. That's just kind of is what it is.
I think what you're saying there is important in that I would actually so biggest need or whatever, we're usually thinking of someone you add to the team. I would argue the Giants' biggest need is to gut their roster. It's to get rid of people. That's their need. Get rid of basically a lot of the cash that they have. And they have to, because their cap situation isn't great, which is tough when you're already a bad team. And it sounds like they're going to have to basically offload James Bradbury. It's one of the few moves they can make to clear up salary. And obviously he's a good player, but He's just really not like fitting their timeline anymore. So they're probably going to have to give him up. Whoever trades for him could get like a decent deal.
That's the word, timeline. You gotta and that's the hardest thing. You have to come to terms, come to peace with what your timeline is. By the way, like monitoring Twitter, because like the
monitoring your timeline.
Well, that's right. The Rodgers fallout is happening as we're recording. Jordan Love now, I think, in the mix for quarterbacks to potentially be traded
Washington?
for. That would be the most like, oh my gosh, thing of all time. That would please.
I don't think that's enough buzz for them. Like you can't like sell. We're the Washington Commanders. We have our new quarterback. It's a guy who has never played. Like I don't think you can do that.
It would be better if Bryce Love was still on their team, and so then you would have had like the headline would have been like the Commanders love their backfield. You know what I mean? So.
And then they can. What's the other guys? Oh, no, it's Bryce Young, right? The Alabama quarterback.
Yeah.
Okay, different
Way
guy.
to mess that up. Anyway, we were vibing until you ruined it. The Eagles need to do what in free agency, Brandon Lee?
I mean, ideally, get a quarterback who can handle a high volume passing offense. But
who is that? There's that dude's not there.
We'll see, but probably not. Definitely not in free agency.
I hope they trade for Russell Wilson. Like, get rid of all that draft capital.
Me too. I do. Same. Because I think you would end up eating those words. But it's not going to happen, or at least it's not looking likely to happen. Deshaun Watson thing is still out there. I don't know if you kind of noticed last week, but Albert Breer kept like connecting those dots based on the buzz he heard out of the combine, and maybe some of that to kind of put it in context is the Texans wanting that out there in terms of creating a market and kind of being like, hey, teams are interested in him. So, you never know fully. Although I will not say like that is the only reason that came out, because the Eagles very much did have legitimate interest in Deshaun Watson. And
what was the report too that they sent like a private investigator?
That was last year. Yeah.
Right.
Like
that popped up again last week. Like they sent a detective or whatever. So,
but it was referring to last year though. Like that the tweet that was put out, what you're referring to, made it seem like they did that like this week or like a couple of weeks ago. No, it was said in the article. If you opened up the article, it said that happened last year. But it speaks to how they've been monitoring that situation. And Jeff McLean of the Inquirer said they are still actively monitoring that situation. That's not like a door I think they've closed on their end. I don't think Deshaun Watson necessarily wants to come to Philly, a pressure cooker market. But there's like a 0% chance that's still hanging out there until it's not, until something gets finalized with him, which it might not. I don't know if you saw in Football Morning in America, Peter King's column this week, he said there's a GM who believes Deshaun Watson will not be playing this year still. So who knows? To answer your question, I guess outside of quarterback, wide receiver is a big position of need. I don't think the Eagles are going to spend big resources, kind of going back to what I was saying about Amari Cooper, just because my thing, RJ, is like you already have Devontae Smith. He's a volume target, and you don't use him enough. So you're going to go out in free agency and spend like more resources on a receiver.
Ironically, on a dude in Amari who wasn't used enough.
Right. And then that's you're going to like how, first of all, they're not even going to come here. It's the heaviest runoff. In fact, it's the heaviest, or sorry, I should say the lowest volume passing offense in the entire NFL. That's not going to be appealing to receivers who want to boost their stats because that's how they get paid in the future. So I don't think they're going to be able to even like attract like these kind of big names. I get Allen Robinson or whoever. I think they're going to have to settle for like Zach Pascal from the Colts.
What about like, as we've been recording again, it's being reported that Cedric Wilson is going to be out of the Cowboys price range. ESPN's Todd Archer reported on Monday that word around the combine was he'd be fetching somewhere between $6 and $8 million a year. Like that's what you need. Like you need that secondary dude. You know what I mean? Like but you got to pay for that.
Complementary player is what how I would phrase it. Complementary piece in the offense. So I think they're not going to spend big there. Safety, I think, is the kind of that's the position the Eagles might splurge on is there.
That's life in the NFC East, baby.
Safeties.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names out there. A lot of guys at that position on the market, and like some high quality options. Obviously, Jesse Bates got tagged, but like Marcus Williams is out there. Marcus May, who got the franchise tag last year, is out there. He was coached by the Eagles defensive backs coach, so that's a connection to keep an eye on. Justin Reed is a connection to keep an eye on. The Eagles showed some interest in him leading up to the 2018 draft. Spoiler alert here, if you've not. Well, you probably already listened to the Oddcast on the SB Nation NFL show because it's probably your second favorite podcast of this one. But Stats and I both had Justin Reed in our top 5 bargain free agents available. I think the Eagles could be looking at someone like him. So I think they're looking at those positions in terms of a position they need the most, like regardless of free agency, and it's something they're pretty much going to almost 100%. I feel like draft or going to address in the draft is edge rusher. They need more edge rushing help. I don't know if you know this, RJ. I mean, maybe they can sign DeMarcus Lawrence, although probably not. The Eagles were 29th in sacks last year. Like that's pretty low, especially like the Eagles. Wouldn't you agree?
What about Ryan Kerrigan though? He was going to change everything.
He was great. But wouldn't you agree? Like the Eagles have a reputation for like being towards the top of the league in that area. Isn't that something like you usually count on? The Eagles like being like at least decent at generating pressure, like not the worst team. Like the Giants are regularly like one of the worst teams in the league at generating pressure.
I think that's a different question for a different episode this offseason. Like, what are the tropes we associate with teams in our heads? Like that, I wouldn't have jumped to that conclusion. No, like that's not like something I like. Oh my gosh, Philly's always great at that. Like that's not something I think of.
Okay, well. Interesting. I mean, I think you think of it at least as not as a weakness, right? Like, oh, the Eagles are always weak at defensive end. Like, I don't think that would be something you would think of. So, but they are kind of right now, especially with Derek Barnett going to be a free agent, and Ryan Kerrigan going to be a free agent and definitely not coming back. So, I think they're going to look to address that in the draft.
Free agency next week. Do we want to have like a special thing? Because our show.
In the middle of the
like in the middle
period.
of the tampering. Although, like lately, we've known what most of the big deals are through the tampering window. So should be able to have some fun. You know what I mean? Like let's get weird. Let's maybe things will be better. I'm starting to bargain. You know what I mean? Like maybe it won't be the worst thing.
What would make it better for you?
And
like now, obviously, the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl, sure, but like, what could they do now that would make you feel better?
Backtrack on the Amari DeMarcus Lawrence stuff. Like if they wind up not cutting them, I would feel much better. But
okay,
but
won't happen. But okay,
right. All right, Brandon Lee Gowton on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon Gowton. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at RJ Ochoa. Do you have anything else you want to say? Anything you want to take back the scorn for my Brussels sprouts earlier?
I want to say. Listen to the SB Nation NFL show.
It was a Christmas ornament that I got BLG for Christmas. Sorry to completely ruin that. So, sweet. Let's get out of here. Let's just do it. Let's just get crazy. Let's get out of here. Brandon, the final.
See ya.
All right. Let's end it that way. No, I want you to say that again, but in your Mickey Mouse voice, and then we'll leave. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
See ya.